Welcome back to another episode of Dirty Modo. I'm your host, Steve Letarte. You heard it. The cold ones popped from producer Trav. We got Tampa Timms. Is that the download studio? You're coming from is this like the nucleus of the Dirty Mo Media enterprise?
This is like the Amy chair. So I'm very hallowed ground right now.
I love it. Three of us are in high def and standard def professor in the bottom corner. Wi-Fi in the rural neighborhood of Concord, North Carolina, or Harrisburg, wherever he lives, must be pretty slow. The mouse on the wheel's not running fast enough. We could barely see him. Hello, Professor.
That's mean. I have good speed today.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
According to the internet test, I do.
No, not the downloads. Like, if we had to compare Russ's internet speed to, like, a car, who would it be?
Denny Hamlin, 30-second half throttle all day long. That's basically what it looks like.
Fair.
I mean, let's where do we start? Let's recap. Let's start. What in the hell? So I hear him on his pod talk about analytics, and I agree with his analytics of 20 to 23 points. But I do not agree with his approach to score 23 points. Like, he's good enough to drive up inside the top 10. You score 5 in each stage, and then all you got to do is finish like friggin' 30th in the race or 27th. Avoiding the two stages puts way too much pressure on the final stage. I don't like it.
I think Gabe Hart even said it. He's like, because Denny was like, I feel like there's about to be a wreck, and he's like, this is how it's going to feel for the next 170 laps.
That's what he said on the radio.
And so it's one of those things where, you know, I get it. Like
I agree with the strategy of points, just not how to get them.
Correct. And it's kind of different than, like, he's backed out at some points in races, super speedway, when he's felt it. But, like, I feel like he's usually someone that wants to be on the offensive, and he kind of was a little more defensive driving.
A little more defensive. There was no offense. The same 11 players played the whole game. The defensive side of the ball. They didn't take one offensive snap.
Listen, I got to produce this podcast. I can't go all the way
in
on him.
No, wait. They did do an offensive snap. And they butt fumbled it and got wrecked on the last corner. That was the one offensive snap he had.
I was going to say, he was defensive all game and still got wrecked.
That's the worst part I saw him this week. I'm like, dude, strategy wasn't work, and you still got junked. I don't want to talk about it. That's what he said. I don't want to talk about it.
That was his worst average running position ever in a race.
There you have it.
What do you make, though, of him saying when he wanted to go, he almost wrecked it once and just didn't, like, does that
I would have
change?
said if you wanted to go all day long, you would have had a little bit more time to adjust your car and get it dialed in. You know what? Wait, I'll give you. You know what this is? This is just like our man on the Jets not playing a preseason game and then looking like he did in the first regular season game of the year. That's what it looks like. You got to risk injury. You got to take some snaps.
Have you ever had that situation as a crew chief where the driver kind of had a different strategy than maybe what you were wanting?
So I hate to admit it, but I was on the opposite side. I wanted to ride around at Talladega, and I asked Gordon to do it, and we rode around for there were no stages there, so we rode around for 400 miles, and nobody wrecked, and then we did the exact same thing. We were like, all right, well, we better go, and we drove right into the wreck. And I'm like, well, you know what? I don't think there's any strategy that improves your chances of finishing. I don't believe it. I'd love to see some sort of data that says otherwise. So with that said, I believe that you're better off to wreck trying than wreck not trying. That's the theory I've gone with, right? Like, that's not a math equation. That's a, hey, how do I feel less getting on the plane to go home? And I feel less crappy knowing that I at least tried to lead race laps and got caught up in somebody else's mess. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see it. I don't see the ride around data working. Speaking of, didn't work. Margin of victory didn't work either. So under caution apparently was a loser.
Yeah, that sucks. I wasn't even sure the way that the stages kind of ended. I wasn't sure if it was going to hit anyway. But, yeah, that sucks. Lesson learned.
It would have paid. The way they crossed the start-finish line would have paid.
I'm telling you, though, if I'm just letting you know that if every bet that would have paid or should have paid, you'd be talking to me in my beach house.
Yeah. I'm just curious, like, do they even – what is the margin of victory then? Just under caution? It's nothing?
It's any other, right? Any other was an option.
It was,
but that is poorly labeled because if under caution was one of the others, then I would have said you had to take the other.
Yeah, I would have just assumed they would go to a scoring loop or freeze it, and that's, I don't know, it's something that would have made more sense than just a random whatever under caution.
How'd the predictor go?
The predictor did very well. 7 of the top 9 were in the top 10. Predicted in the top 10, finished in the top 10.
What were the misses?
Well, I'm
The
guessing
misses
Kyle Larson,
were-
who landed somewhere outside of Atlanta.
No, we didn't have Kyle Larson.
He wasn't. He was out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Man, Russ, you were on fire.
We had that Bum Bowman and Joey Logano.
Oh, so you missed the winner.
And every time you call him a bum, I'm just adding one more level to the seafood tower. We're up to 4 stories now.
Even when Russ in the model crushes it, he finds a way to mess up and loses the
I'm going to
winner.
tell you. First of all, leading into the playoffs, I thought it was shameful that Alex Bowman had to answer all those questions. But now I actually have got to the bottom. I think it's the professor creating the rumors. I think it's the professor so mad about that dinner that he's creating the rumors about Bowman's career just out of spite.
Is he Brett's source?
It keeps getting
That's
worse.
exactly right. He gets on Door Bumper Clear anonymously like, guess what I heard?
No, it gets worse and worse every week. He tells a story to any new people he gets and invites them to dinner. This dinner is going to be 30 people. Every week he adds one more person to this dinner.
I'm going out there to MC a Jimmy Johnson event just so I can get a big enough reservation.
This is supposed to be 5 people at dinner.
5's wrong. 5's a lie. We've never had 5.
Yes, that's true. 5.
What's the number?
The
5,
number has
max
always
6.
been what?
It's max 6.
The number has always been 6. 7 if it's an extra Racing Insights guy. It's going to be 6. I'm going to get a table for 8, and we'll probably have an empty chair. But I might buy a drink just for the empty chair so it doesn't feel alone. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/Dough, D-O-U-G-H, to download America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds. Term restrictions and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. All right, so the predictor was fun, was money. Is there anything else we need to talk? How was the overall day? Just give us the grade on the Tampa day. What was the sweat bet? What'd you do there?
It was the Corey LaJoy over 14.5 top 10 split.
How did the math work? I saw he was really close.
It was he finished 15th, so it worked out. But yeah, I mean, oh man, were we sweating? Were we sweating? Oh yeah, but
For those of you who didn't listen last week, basically what we did is we took a mathematical equation, Corey over 15.5?
14.5.
Over 14.5 and under in the top 10, and he just couldn't finish 11th, 12th, 13th, or 14th, and luckily he finished 15th. It would have been a real kick in the shorts.
He was always like, oh yeah.
But
I
the
mean, he
math
was always
worked, and you
19.
got paid.
Yeah, so I was happy. It was
Hey.
I couldn't lose money, but unless he did that.
All right, well, we'll go into the Glen. First, what I consider true road course of the playoffs. We've seen the Roval a few times, but the Glen, I think, is even more pure. A lot of controversy going there. New Goodyear tire. It's supposed to have a ton of fall off. New curbing in the bus stop. New runoff area in one, and the carousel have been ground up to try to avoid them going off the track. I have a lot of question marks going into practice. Let's start with the simple ones. New curbing in the bus stop, A+. So these drivers wear some sensors, mouth guards mostly, and it talks about vertical G and all this stuff. The idea is how safe are the cars, right? We measure how hard the car hits, but this thing the driver wears tells you how hard the driver hits, right? So, and last year through the bus stop, there were like hundreds of massive G hits that weren't wrecks. They literally were jumping the curb and landing so hard that the driver's body was going through what looked like an accident. And everybody was like, okay, no good. We can't have this. So they redesigned the curbing to be much smoother. I'm totally on board with that because you're going to have to drive over it anyway. Anybody who wants track limits to be officiated, I hate that because now you put it in somebody else's hands. Exit of turn 1, exit of the carousel. I am anti-runoff. I hate it. I don't like it. I like to keep the drivers inside the track. But once again, I don't want it to be a track limit official type thing. So they ground these rumble strips, kind of like this. You go off on the interstate and walks yourself back on. So that's what it's supposed to be like. Then the tire is supposed to have this magical fall off of multiple seconds. We'll wait and see. So with all that said, we put that into the predictor. I'm already going to tell you that the guy that win the race isn't even in tier 1. But go ahead, Professor. Let's hear the predictor.
Reddick, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell. Tier 1.
Those top 4 drivers in Vegas are 4th, 5th, 1st, and 8th.
Tier 2, Buescher, Gibbs, Byron, McDowell, Kyle Busch. Tier 2, Kyle Busch.
It's back.
Back.
Let's just start with Buescher then. He's, I think, the biggest outlier between you and the books.
Buescher is an absolute hammer top 10 bet, maybe top 5 bet. No chance I'm taking him for the win. That's my opinion on Buescher's numbers at the road courses. He is Mr. Always there. Just always there.
Consistent.
Plus money for a top 10, I think, is an absolute. Give me the stats, Professor. I know they're going to be great. Give me next-gen road course stats for Christopher Buescher from Prosper, Texas.
So
the big
30,000.
metropolis. Population something or other.
it's well over 30,000. 15 next-gen starts on road courses, only 2 worse than 11th.
Whew.
And you get plus money top 10?
Plus 120.
You hear that? That's the master lock.
Yeah.
Top 10 in both at Watkins Glen.
I can get you plus 140 at one of the books.
I'll take it.
Would you just say this is like a miss by Vegas, or like what? Why do you think?
I think they're giving him disrespect because he's not a playoff car. I think there's something about playoff cars that's messing up their algorithm, and I think it's messing up. It's not correct. I think Buescher's going to run top 10. I think that's the bet of the week is Buescher top 10. So let's talk it. Bell is the longest shot of the tier 1 drivers. Is that accurate? It is. At 15-1, I see a little color on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm looking for my notes. Yeah, Christopher Bell, 15-1. I love that value. I mean, he's sneaky good at road courses. He is always. I feel like he's always top 5, top 7. And I won the Roval of 2022, so he's got a road course win. I think he's one of the hottest drivers right now. Probably between him and Reddick and Kyle Busch, he's having a great run right now. I think he breaks through and gets a win. Moves on to the next round.
Never finished outside the top 10 at Watkins Glen. And he was the fastest guy at COTA earlier this year, but had the pit stop strategy was not, didn't go.
I hate to agree with the professor, but I do think when I look at win bets, now I don't have him winning the race, but he's in the handful I think could win the race. And at 15-1, I think he's a must bet. Because the guy I have winning the race is a tier 2 driver, but he's second favorite in Vegas. And I think it's William Byron. He's been a little bit on a milk carton all summer long, a little bit missing. But I think, I don't know, something about it. I think Watkins Glen's going to be a big situation here. It's going to be a high tire fall-off road course, which I know they're not the same, but he runs good like at high tire fall-off ovals. I don't know if that I really don't. I'd love to say, hey, I think that's the same driving style. I don't think it is, but I think you still have to think about the tires. So I like William Byron, but so does in Vegas. So for that reason, I can see somebody skipping him because I really thought Byron should have been like a 10-1, 12-1 driver. He's down there at 7.5-1.
Are we going to keep the Hendrick thing going here at Watkins Glen?
5 in a row. 5 in a row.
Timms, what was the stat you told me today?
They've swept this is from the professor. They've swept the road courses so far with 3 different drivers, I believe. So if Chase Elliott wins this one, they will complete that little sweep, and they have the Roval. But it does seem like a Hendrick type of race, though. But at Larson and Byron, they're the favorites in Vegas, so I mean, they're probably going to run pretty fast here too.
Well, you get Bowman at 37-1. Won the last road course we were at, street course at Chicago. Russ, do you remember that one?
Doesn't relate. What's his best finish? What's his best finish at Watkins Glen?
Probably 17th.
14th. 7 starts.
That was close. I was close. I didn't say bet it. I just said you could get him at 37-1. You got all sensitive. This sunlight in my glasses is really a problem here. I can't get somewhere comfortable.
Get some working shades.
They're solid.
I got a real long shot that he's in tier 4. He just won last week. Joey Logano, 41-1. That jumped out to me. I feel like I don't know if he's ever won a road course, to be honest, or if Penske's really that great on road courses. That's probably why he's 41-1. But I feel like he should be in like the 20s. Like,
well, the one thing he has going for him is the stress of how you're going to call the stages and they can just. So here's how I don't know how it's going to go though. If they can win a stage, do they take the playoff point or do they say to hell with it and try to win the race? It's going to be a very odd situation.
Yeah, I feel like in recent history when he's won early in these rounds, he tries to dominate the round. He'll win again and again. Like he goes for it all. I like that strategy, but it's all price though. At 41-1, Joey Logano is he's not even the top Penske guy. It's Hendrick. So
Hendrick did do the tire test. There was a lot of conversation about who did the tire test. Reddick, which is why he should be number one on the. It was Reddick, it was Hendrick, and it was help me.
Suarez.
Who was the Chevy?
Suarez.
But now listen, extra practice. There's so much practice this week that I don't think any of the testing is going to help.
Do you think the strategy could change in where teams pit and flipping the stages because of the tire fall off?
It does, yeah, for sure. Because if you pit 3 laps before the end of the stage, 3 laps on the tires might be so much that you can't stay out. Like if you lose a second of lap in 3 laps, you don't want to restart 12th on 3-lap tires. If 13th is brand new tires, they're going to smoke you. So all of this is really subject to what the tires look like. This easily has become a 3-stop race now.
And that's if the tires fall off 3 seconds like Goodyear thinks. But
correct. But what I've learned is, go ahead.
How much wear is really going to be on those 3-lap tires? Because you're not going to have to go hard for 3 laps.
Well, you say that until the 4 guys behind you go hard. I mean, I know what you're saying, but
Denny on the podcast this week said in qualifying, if you don't have the pole on the first lap, you're not getting on the second lap because your time's not going to be fast enough. So
correct.
You better
I
hit
heard
your
like
time.
a second of fall off in the first 5. Now, some of that will come back when it cools under the yellow. And I still think that strategy is correct if you're going to be like the front 2 rows. But, somewhere 6th, 10th, 15th, you're the first guy on old tires, and that's no good, bud. That'll smoke you. So that's assuming there's fall off. If it was me, I run stage 1 out, put tires on. I run stage 2 out. I put tires on there. Then I run to the middle of the next break, and I pit 3 times. I'm calling this race with 3 stops. Never wait on fuel, short pit stops. That's my strategery. Let's talk about it. We got to talk about it. SVG and Juan Pablo Montoya. First of all, Juan Pablo is a big name. I love Juan Pablo. The guy wins in everything. He's a hell of a race car driver. He ain't just going to jump in the old next-gen car and be as good as these guys are now. It's been a long time since he's been in the Cup car, and this is not a discount on Juan Pablo. The man is a wheel man. F1 winner, Indy 500 winner, should have won the Brickyard if he could have just found pit road speed that one time down pit road. Like, no joke. I mean, I'm not picking a simple mistake, right? But like he's like the real deal, but not in a one-off. I think he's going to run good. And when I say good, I mean like top 25. Like he's going to be in the mix. He's not going to be a top 5 guy. And this is a very unpopular statement. I don't have SVG. I think he's going to the home. I think it's going to be a big test, but he ran Coda, very blasé. Right, Professor? Where you got SVG?
Yeah, I have him 18th. And the reason being, like he's run 4 road course races with the next gen car. He won it at the street course, but then he's been 10th at the Indy road course, 20th at Coda, and then he wrecked at the street course earlier this year.
I think if he runs inside the top 10, it's a great day. I think he's going to run somewhere between 7th and 13th.
But you wouldn't take him top 10 at minus 360, right?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't take him top 10 at minus 180.
That's what sucks about Montoya too. They've priced him to where you almost really can't bet him. It's not even worth it. It's not even fun to bet him.
How much
minus
of that you think is
105.
international money, Tampa? Like, he's not a huge name in the States, but he's an international star, right?
He's a
Like,
global superstar still. Like, he's a big name. So, I mean, I would have bet him top 10 for fun. Why not?
I'm going to tell you, Tampa, I love the chunk of top 10s you have highlighted. I like every one of these. Buescher, Hendrick, Bowman, Chastain, Logano. I'd even throw Blaney in it.
It's a good little group right there. That's your 8 to 12.
I love it. Plus 180.
Yep, they all fight. You could probably make some money if you structure those right. You place about 3 or 4 of them.
So let me ask you this, Steve. We talked about Juan Pablo and his top 10. One book has him at plus 140. Does that change things?
No.
Okay.
He hasn't been in a Cup car in almost 11 years, I think.
And think about how much the Cup drivers have improved on road courses compared to when he raced.
And not even just that. When they go down to turn one, not talent, but aggression, I think he's going to be shocked at how they race currently. Because in the last 10 years, and somebody just talked about Joey Logano there, said, how much has racing changed in your career? And he's like, it's not even the same sport. And I think Juan Pablo, no, look, he's going to study his video, and he's going to know it's that way. But, you know, I think it's going to be way more of a bar fight than he's used to. He's going to be like, dude, why did you run me over? Well, because that's what we do.
It's kind of like being in shape and then in football shape. There's a big difference until you get out there.
You can run a lot of laps. So tell me how you feel in the middle of the fourth quarter.
I have on the both top 10s, the pre-made ones they give you. I like the Ty Gibbs, AJ Allmendinger plus 185. I like both of them to finish top 10. You can't get them really that great individually. So if you're going to give me plus 185, I'll definitely take it.
I could get behind that.
There's also one I'm going to make on one of the books where you can make a top 10 parlay, and it's Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, because these guys, all they do is finish top 10 now.
Plus 111.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that one better.
Yeah. That's probably my best bet besides the Buescher top 10.
Can I give you an unpopular one for the guy who has to call the race? Can we go back to margin of victory?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm hooked on these. I got to win one of these.
This week's going to be really hard on margin of victory. Because it's either close or it runs away.
It's a runaway. That's what we're betting.
What we got? I'm all ears.
So I think you got to take any other now that we know that's yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Although that one rarely finishes under yellow because
we do have because if unless it's turn one, do they call it? I don't think so.
That's the hard thing on a road course,
finishes.
Stevie.
Let's say it finishes under green because we don't want to root for a yellow. I'm taking 1 second to 10 seconds. That's a 5-1, a 4-1, and a 5-1. If you just get over a second and under 10, you just need a gap of over 1 second. I think it happens. I think you get over one. And here's why. Mark my words. I think if it's close, the guy like bombs it into one of the last two corners and you gain a gap. I think it's over one. I plus 500, plus 400, plus 500. Take 1 unit, chop it up in thirds, and you're making money. You're averaging, what are you averaging there? 3 bets. You're averaging like one. That's like a plus 170 bet if you put it across there.
And I would say like 3 of the last 5 years, it's been over 2 seconds.
See? Oh, there you go. Well, 10. That's a big range, 1 to 10 seconds.
That's what I mean.
From how far is 1 second for like a car? How much space?
25 car lengths. 20 car lengths. Bigger than you think.
That is bigger, I think. Yeah.
Bigger than you think. 20 car lengths. Like say you have a shot at catching a guy into turn one. You take a bonsai, it doesn't work. You slide up over the corner, the guy runs a clean lap. He could pull you a second. Average speed of the race, I want to say it's under with the stage breaks.
Yeah, the numbers would say over. But
that's not assuming tire fall off.
Yeah.
What's the average? Give me I don't even know what. What the hell is the speed? I only know it by lap time. Like what is a good lap? What is a good average speed lap? Sorry, what I'm trying to say here.
What do you mean like the average,
what is the average speed of the race?
Qualifying would be like
last year.
Qualifying would be like a 125.
Throw away last year and go back another year. What was it?
So it was 95.9, 101, 98.9, 98.9. It's right at that number.
I don't like this bet because how do I root for this during the race or like
Just root for yellows, extra yellow flag laps.
Yeah, like it's just not. I want something visually that I can see and know, and if I'm just rooting for yellows, like it's.
Well, if they got any signage on the track, that's going to be at least 2 yellows. I mean,
oof
is right.
Yeah.
Number of lead changes. You like under?
Yeah. That's what it's been, bud.
I like over with the new tire.
Okay. The last 4 have been 6, then we had 12, then 7 and 5.
Yeah, but it can't go last year. There were no stage breaks.
Okay.
It's a totally different world. Got to take all those stats last year and throw them away.
So you want to go over?
I want to go over on number of lead changes for sure.
What about drivers to lead?
I would say we're gonna have 6 guys lead a lap.
7's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't have number of where's that bet?
All the way
Oh,
to
I
the top.
see it.
So it's 6.5.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I take the over.
The average is right at 6.5. So
Over. Let's say the tire adds some controversy. Over to both lead changes and leaders. Put those together.
That's
Will they
fine.
let you parlay them together? Because that's something that'd be worth connecting. But I guarantee they won't.
That's the future. Hopefully next year.
Hold on. What about drivers on lead lap?
Over.
Over 30. Yeah, that seems.
38 drivers in the race. Unless, it's going to be over.
it's been 31 the last 2 years. In the next
Really?
year.
Wow.
I would say over, but that scares me. We don't have over-under finishing positions. Too bad. Those are my favorites.
So do the track limits scare you at all in that lead lap, Stevie?
No, because they're not being enforced. And there's no
Or
penalties.
will we have more wrecks?
I don't know. Till I see, I don't think so. I think it's going to be, you don't want to go out there because it's going to be rough, but I don't think you can have more wrecks. If you have more wrecks, it's because people are, because of tires, because you're losing grip.
Trav, I think we have a driver finish position update.
Ooh. Let's have them, please.
They have added them. I'm trying to find out who they actually are. All right.
Let's
We
have it.
Bubba Wallace over 21.5.
Under.
Alex Bowman 15.5.
Oh.
Right at it.
Right at it.
This 12th on the predictor.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He's
Bubba
been pretty
Wallace,
good on road
21.
courses this year. So
Huh?
he's been really good on road courses this year. I got to give him credit. He scored the.
All right, I'm going to take Bowman under over Bubba Wallace under. I'm a little worried about the 23. I jumped quick on that one.
Yeah. Austin Dillon over 24.5. That's already been put in.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that
He's
one. I
really
like
not
that.
good on road courses. And then Chastain over 16.5. That one seems like an under.
Say that again?
Chastain over 16.5. Or 16.5 is his line.
I would think that's an under.
I'd lean under.
Minus 130. Would you buy it?
Yep. And if my football weekend looks anything like last week, we got to have a turnaround.
Oh, Northwestern Duke. Off. We're good until it went to overtime.
I know. Trust me. I know. You know why? That's Northwestern's fault for playing a game with no kids on campus. Shameful.
What do you mean?
My daughter doesn't go till Monday. There are no kids in attendance.
Really?
Well, wait, there's kids, but you can still go.
Yeah, but
How many kids live in Evanston, friggin' Illinois, you think, pal?
Ohio State, when we were on the quarters, had like 2 or 3 games before school started, and guess what?
Yeah, but those are kids that go to Ohio State. They don't have anything else in their life. They just go to a football game. But these kids that go to Northwestern have other things going on.
you're not
Well,
up there until you have classes. I
You
mean,
you still have to play the games. Like what is
Telling you,
North?
but I blame. I didn't know this was a thing. This is new to me. All these universities that go in the quarters and don't have student body for their fall sports, shame on them.
Shame on the students. Show up.
It's friggin' Illinois.
Okay. If you're an upperclassman, you're like living there already. Go to the games. I mean, let's not act like Northwestern has a sellout crowd when the students are there to begin with.
It's a temporary.
We were just looking for. We were just looking
Yeah.
for a half a point swing, but we just needed it not to go to OT.
Yeah, that game was under. Let's not get this twisted. It was an under, and then overtime they decided to go lights out, and it was Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady throwing touchdowns. I mean,
bunch of horse.
yeah.
Are we done with racing? What else do we want to talk about?
Let's do Xfinity
I've
real
got
quick.
nothing else.
Well, we don't have odds for them.
Yeah, but we can set it up. So we got a bunch of double duties. This is the last week for Cup guys to be in Xfinity. So like,
Give us the top three. Who's going to win?
Like Ty Gibbs, William Byron are both in the Xfinity series in good rides. And then SVG's won the last 3 races on road courses in Xfinity series. Allmendinger's in the race too.
What's a number that you would be willing, like, to bet an SVG to win?
Ooh. He's probably going to be like 250, 300 to be honest with you. If I see anything above a 5, I think I might jump on it. 6, 7.
SVG to win?
Yeah.
You're not getting him past 2-1, buddy.
I know. That's what I'm saying. If I do, I'm jumping on it.
I'd go with Byron or Ty Gibbs. Gibbs is one here.
It's all
Byron's
hypothetical,
2-1.
so we see some action.
Yeah.
I do have some questions on some matchups. Can we retreat back to Cup Series matchups?
It's your show. Let's do it.
Colleague versus 2311.
Whew. Yeah, but it's Reddick. I'd take.
I don't think this is. I think it's a bad line. Colleague is minus 140. 2311 is plus 110. You're telling me that Shane Van Gisbergen, which is basically the Colleague lineup, no offense to Daniel Hendrick, in 2311 is basically Tyler Reddick.
Well, AJ Allmendinger,
They have
too.
Allmendinger this week too.
Oh, it is 3 against 3.
It's really 2 against 1, too.
But I still
Oh, no,
think.
they got Montoya.
Montoya, you're right.
Montoya's a 2311 ride.
I forgot about that.
I still think
still
it's
like
Reddick.
2311. Reddick is going to be lights out. I like 2311 there at plus money. RCR versus RFK is Kyle Busch against Chris Buescher. Legacy versus Rick Ware. I'm taking Rick Ware.
Yeah, that's say. Justin Haley should cover that.
I'm
Even
taking Justin
Casgralla.
Haley. I'm taking Justin Haley. Respect out of Rick Ware Racing.
Yeah.
Penske in front row. Oh, boy, I'm avoiding that one. Busch, Hamlin, Larson, Byron, Gibbs, Bell, McDowell, Dinger, Cindric, Chastain. Disrespectful to Cindric. I think Cindric and Chastain's a good head-to-head bet. I like Cindric at plus 120.
I like McDowell too.
Over the Dinger?
Just because it's plus money.
I could see that. Yeah. No disagreement. Suarez and Buescher, no chance. And Logano and Blaney. I like Buescher over Suarez, minus 145. That's rude, but I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't. It's too much juice. Yeah. All right. Anything else? We know what time of year it is, guys. We got to talk about it. Bad beats last week. We had overtime in Northwestern was horrible. My affinity for a favorite being down at half got kicked right in the nuts by Notre Dame.
Oof.
The only thing that saved me is I got a little over my ski tips live betting Alabama. And every trash touchdown at the end was like another bet cashing. And let me tell you, it was like clear, back to life. He's back. Because it was not good. We went down a bad road, guys. We went down a bad road. And I kept telling you, I was splitting. You know, you get at the table and you start splitting. I'm like, well, you got to split 8s. And then you get another 8. Well, you got to split 8s again. I had about 7 8s across the table, it looked like, in that Alabama game. So let's talk about who we think are the real deal. Before we get into betting, Tennessee's the real deal.
I want to see a little more out of them.
Okay.
Nico,
okay.
that quarterback is pretty good though.
Nico's good, but they've played Tennessee, Chattanooga, and they played NC State. I want to see.
So how about Texas? Can we say Texas is the real deal?
Yes.
They're back.
Texas is back. And I hate to say this, but when I say real deal, I mean real deal with exception. Nebraska. Nebraska, this is the best Big Red team we've seen in some time. They're not going to go beat a top 15 team, but they're going to cover against a bad team. They can finally score. Big Red can finally put points on the board.
I was going to say, yeah, I was going to say Dylan Raiola, they got a good quarterback. That's
what I mean.
Right there.
So I'm all on Nebraska covers, all these trash cover games.
They will most likely be 7-0 when they go to Columbus.
Which is great because then there'll be this fake line and we can flip. And we're going to ride that baby into the sunset. There's going to be this false Nebraska hope out in Omaha. Lincoln, Nebraska is going to be like, oh, no, this is our year. And we're going to be on the other side of it for sure.
I think the other thing that helps if you bet Nebraska is I think they need to get Dylan as many reps as possible. So even late in the game, they're still going to be trying things.
We all think Colorado stinks.
You know who's not for real? Penn State.
Oh.
Penn State.
Russ, what is going on? How nervous were you last Saturday?
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, he was one field goal away from a broken nose from the guy 2 seats over.
Hey, that's no joke either. That's part of the over his ski tips story.
It started with Penn State, and they were like, oh, you got a touchdown, you're good. I'm like, nope, they're going to give up a field goal, and sure is there they did it. Who else do we believe is real?
Georgia and Ohio State are the other two.
Fair, but those aren't new, right? You can't really get any value there because they're so good.
Yeah, value now.
What about Boston College?
It's a fun
What
run.
about Vandy?
Well, speaking of Boston College, it ends this. I'm taking Missouri.
I was going to say,
Missouri's real.
Missouri's real.
Yes, I'm with you. I like Missouri.
All
right, let's jump right into this on the real teams. You're taking Missouri. Let me have the line.
It's 16.5. I'll take it. They're a borderline wagon. Shutouts back-to-back weeks. I think they've got this edge to them. They're gonna, they're not the typical SEC powerhouse. They beat Ohio State last year in the Cotton Bowl, so I think they're coming in. They want to send a message that hey, we're here to play too, especially in the 12-team playoff format.
I have it straight up, and it is absolutely an anchor of my first 3-team teaser. Go ahead, jump on my teasers, say you hate them, but I'm going to get them down to 6.5. So I love a 10-point teaser to get them under a touchdown. That is an anchor of my first 3-team teaser for the weekend.
Love it.
I like that. I got one for your noon kickoffs. Memphis plus 6.5 at Florida State. I hate 6.5 as a number, but Florida State sucks. We all know it. Memphis is actually pretty good.
Would you buy the hook?
No, but I could put them in my other third leg, and that's a 16.5-point spread.
Which I like even more.
That could be the other side. I would be getting 16.5. That has garbage touchdown and closing minutes to cover written all over it.
I can't see where Florida State covers a 16.5-point spread.
I mean, that's my point. 16.5 is a lot of points.
Yeah. That's the only reason. It's a lean at 6.5, but for your teaser, for sure.
All right, I like it. Who's your crappy Penn State playing, Professor?
This was a much-needed week off, I believe.
Whew. You might need 2 weeks off after what I saw. The only chance you had is if you were lining up against the Irish.
What about Alabama, Wisconsin?
Wisconsin stinks.
My problem is
Alabama's not Alabama, so I
don't know what to expect out of them. I think I'm going to avoid any of those team bets, but you know where I'm going with this, Steve. It's player prop time.
Oh boy.
So a couple books aren't even offering it. Ryan Williams, their star freshman receiver, the kid. I can call him kid because he's 17 years old. He's got 3 touchdowns on this season.
He's the only one in college not receiving presidential election campaign material. 17 years old.
Listen, if they beat Tennessee, he legally can't out in public smoke a cigar in the victory celebration. But I can get him at plus 138 for anytime touchdown against Wisconsin. I'm going to bet that until it doesn't cash.
All right, I can get behind that.
I
love
name?
that Memphis game.
Ryan Williams.
Did you see where that game opened? That game opened at 8.5, and it's up to 16.5. It's on a runaway streak.
I would have hammered that, but 16 has got me.
So the
nervous.
question is that the third leg of my teaser, and am I taking it down to Alabama covering by a touchdown? See, we just put one together right here, boys.
Yeah, I mean their fourth quarter cover last week makes me think they'll be all right. They'll be fine.
Can NC State put up 21.5 on Louisiana Tech? Because NC State did not look good.
Nah, I don't want to touch them.
Then the next question is LSU good enough to put up over a touchdown on South Carolina?
Yes.
I don't have an opinion.
I'm undecided.
All right. I'm just going through. I love the Missouri game. You can get all the way to 17 now in the Missouri game, which is unfortunate, but I'm still going to take it.
What about...
I have to do 10.5 point teaser now.
I haven't bet this yet, Steve, but what about, can I interest you in Oregon State over 50?
Absolutely. Track meet.
I bet the over on Boise State, Oregon. That was fun. That was fun to watch.
Something is off with Oregon.
It is.
But we're not betting them to win. We're betting points, and I think they can put up some points.
Yeah, I mean, this game right here is like 35-28. I mean, this thing's going into the 60s. I think that over's getting murdered.
They can give up points, too.
Let me tell you the ones I'm not touching. West Virginia, Pittsburgh, no way. I hate to say it. If this was week 5, I wouldn't take it. But I like Miami running Ball State right out of the world. Because they're ranked 10th. They're not going to win their division. Well, they might. But that's where this 12-team thing is real. Because if you're Miami, you have got to, you can't win Ball State by 10 points. Not with what Notre Dame and Penn State just did. You got to go out there. Anyone that you're big favorites, you got to, monster cover.
What about, Steve, with this Miami game, 21.5 for the first half?
Oh, I like that. What's the first quarter?
First quarter is 9.5. So you need a hot start.
I was hoping you were going to tell me 10.5, and I was going to take Ball State first quarter, Miami first half. That's some real degenerate stuff.
Can't do that.
No, can't get there. Can't get there from here. Notre Dame, Purdue, I won't even turn it on. Sorry, CBS. Won't even happen. There's no way Notre Dame's going to grace my television to the end of the year. Ain't happening.
Do we have any other college, or should we move to Sunday?
Well, hold on. I like the Utes versus the Utes.
Oh,
Utah versus Utah State.
Is Cam Rising's hand okay? I heard he hurt it last week.
I don't know. But Utah, I'm a big Utah fan. I have been for years. I think they get ignored a little bit over here. People don't really pay attention to them. They've never been a monster team, but they're always pretty solid.
And I believe, I'm trying to pull it up real fast, Utah didn't look that great last week against Baylor.
I think Cam Rising got hurt, and they took him out.
I know, it killed me. They were under last week. That was one of my over.
Yeah.
They
were crushing in the first half.
Can we I got some just generic pro statements. Well, hold on. Vandy, by the way, am I over 2.5 for the year? All I need is for them to not they can't cough it up to Georgia State, which is a trap game, 10.5 points. You think it's an automatic, and I'm like, this is the one that you should win that you don't.
But you don't need the 10.5, though, so.
I know. Texas covering 35.5 all day and 16 ways from Sunday against UTSA. No way.
Are you worried about a hangover?
No. This team is still mad. They're ranked number 2, and they're going to put another huge 40-point win on the board. I think they're disrespected with the ranking of number 2, which they should be number 2, but they don't think that.
And what helps, too, is they don't have a big game the following week, so it's not like they're looking ahead.
I will say, if you can get some future lines on SEC Champ, the rumors are that Georgia's numbers went up a little with Texas's dominance because they're trying to think maybe that Georgia's not the team, and I still don't think that's the case. So if you were ever going to bet Georgia win it all in the SEC, now's the time.
I'm pulling up their odds, SEC right now. Georgia's plus 165, Texas is 260.
Georgia was under 165 at the beginning of the year, I believe.
I think that sounds right.
Colorado State. Nope. Nebraska. We can move on. Let's go to the pros.
Blind fade, Carolina.
Don't even
right?
carry the line. Under team total and against Carolina.
So
it doesn't matter.
Here's where it's their Chargers minus 6.5 for the game. I'll take that. Chargers minus 3.5 for the first half. I'll take that. Chargers minus 1 point, half a point, first quarter. I'll take that. And Panthers under. Just
fact.
Watch out on the game under because the Saints crushed it. They crushed the over on the first.
I'm going to tell you, if you were in line at the beer stand, you missed the game.
Yeah.
By the time you came back with your beer, you're like, yeah, guys, it's over. You run into your buddies or heading to the parking lot.
Tim's has a great idea if you live near Charlotte for how to handle the Panthers.
You buy like $1 nosebleed seats because they're cheap now, and you just live bet every drive, punt.
Ooh. Me and
That's
you.
a fun
NASCAR season's over, Tampa. Me and you are going to take a trip. If they only had a froze stand.
They do. Don't worry. That was another perk.
I guess the question is, are the Cowboys for real? 6.5 point line against the Saints. Because you didn't learn anything about the Saints. All you learned was the Panthers were awful.
I like the over in that game, 46.5. I think it's kind of a shootout type of game.
I agree.
Cowboys looked way better than I think the Saints will, but...
Which I was shocked because normally when you come off the new Mega Million contract, usually you don't have a good game, but Dak looked good.
Probably didn't have enough time. Probably didn't have time to think about it.
This time he'll see the first direct deposit. He'll be like, ooh.
Exactly.
Texans minus 6.5 versus the Bears.
Oh, don't get me started on the friggin' Texans.
Listen, the Titans should have beaten the Bears. The coach said if we would have punted, we would have beaten the Bears. They don't have enough. They're not there yet. The Texans, C.J. Stroud, I think that they handle that one.
What about the Eagles?
Russ, you betting them?
Hell yeah.
Same. I'm in on it. 6.5.
Saquon, man,
trash,
is for real. Saquon's for real.
Oh, for sure.
Well, let me see if they have an anytime touchdown for him.
They do, but it's minus 165.
Oh, that's too much juice. Hey,
Even for him?
I got a fan base question. I need some help here because I have rose colored glasses. I can't look at this clear. Are the Pats for real, man?
No.
No, I don't mean good. I don't mean good. But they're getting 3.5 going to the Seahawks, man. Or no, Seahawks coming to Foxborough. 3.5.
No. I actually had Seahawks starred, double bolded, highlighted, minus 3.5.
It's just rose-covered glasses.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, hey.
You heard I asked the question. I can admit it.
I only say that because I don't know if Joe Burrow's healthy with that wrist. So I can't really take what they did to the Bengals into account. But, I mean, it was impressive. They still beat the Bengals. Nobody had them winning. They have their over-under was 4.5.
Because I'm a fan. It's a fan bet. I just want it listed. Fan bet.
I'll say they will go over their win total, though. I think they win at least 6 games. They definitely proved me on that.
Joe Burrow can't even squeeze a water bottle right now. I'd be worried about him.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the old
Where are they
old
at?
Patriots, but
At the
Chiefs.
Ooh, we missed the game of the week, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And?
It's on the zone. Bills, Dolphins, Thursday night. I think that is the game of the week. I have some real question marks about here. Bills are a cold weather team going to the hottest sideline, I think, on the face of the earth. Tyreek Hill was arrested, celebrated with the handcuffs behind him. The question is, will the adrenaline have dipped? I mean, I don't really know, but can I say I think Dolphins are one of the funnest teams to watch.
Yeah, home run type speed and playmaking ability. Love it.
I could see the over in that one. Also, Russ, I feel like if you're going to bet Barkley anytime touchdown, you might as well just go 2 touchdowns and get like plus 255.
I think I'm going to Florida parlay. I'm going Miami to cover against FSU, Dolphins. I'm getting all Florida bets in a parlay. I'm taking Miami to cover on Saturday. I'm talking the U. Then I'm taking
a lot of points.
Who is it against FSU?
And Memphis.
Taking Memphis against FSU with points.
You can't call this an all Miami bet if one of them you're going against.
Oh, I can't.
no.
Why not?
Or
I'm all
Florida.
in Florida. I'm all
No,
in
it's the
Florida.
Ronnie Bass
Here's what
Sunshine
happens.
parlay.
Both the Miami teams are to win, and Florida State, the other city, they're losing. That's how it is. This is a Miami parlay. Miami
The Ronnie
parlay.
Bass Sunshine State parlay.
I like it. I like it.
What about Chargers, Texans, Eagles money line plus 142?
I lose those every
Speaking
time.
of that, did you
Yeah,
hear about
I don't lose.
the guy from Fox Sports? He was trying to teach his kids about gambling. He put 10 cents and they picked all the games on Sunday, hit them all. But he only put 10 cents because he was just trying to teach his kids about gambling.
Yeah, that was a lesson, kids.
Bet more.
Bet more than 10 cents. Don't be a schmuck. Everybody can afford $1, at least $1.
Yeah. You know what? I've been hitting these like prime time. I'm gonna sit and watch it anyway. One rushing touchdown and one passing touchdown from each team in each half. Oh my God, is it fun to watch? It was one away in the Packers-Eagles Brazil game.
Am I the only one that didn't need a Brazil game?
It does nothing for me.
Nah, me too.
And also, I don't need it on Friday. I don't need
Pro Friday. I'm with you.
I don't need college on Friday. It's for high school. Leave it alone.
I don't need Friday because let me tell you, later in the year I'm gonna come off Maction, then I'm gonna grab some Thursday night pro. I need a day off. Like
Yeah.
I just need a day off. You know why I need Friday off? Because I need to study for Saturday.
Exactly. I was about to say I need a reset. I need to focus on the weekend. It's a lot of games I got to cover.
I get why they wanted it, but I would have rather had 2 games on Monday than one
No, I
on
just
Friday.
selected double Mondays.
I hate those two.
Why?
I want to watch the one primetime game.
The
I don't
primetime
wanna flip
game's
back
too late
to.
to me, dog.
If
I can't
only
do
you-
the primetime game.
If only you could have 2 TVs in a living room, Tim's, you could fix
I've
that
never
problem.
made it past halftime of a Monday night game. I think ever.
Well, that's an age problem.
Fact. Miss Trisha was out of town. She went to Ty's. Oh, speaking of which, she went to the big Vandy win.
Ooh.
She was there, parents' weekend. And what I was going to tell you is I think I got in bed one night at 7:15 and the other night at 8:30. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Russ, what other bets I feel like you just kind of hold your bets close to the chest. And then
I had a great 2 weeks.
Yeah, oh yeah, we know. This is what this does. Hey guys, what are we on? I've won all my bets for the weekend. And we were like, no, you didn't share them with anybody.
can share them.
Oh yeah, he's about as social on our text messages is on this podcast.
Well, you guys, you just dominated there. There's nothing for me to say.
So
yeah,
the floor is
because
yours.
all the winning bets. Here we are, 1 hour, 2 minutes in. Let's hear the winning slate.
This is what I got. I got the Chargers to cover this week. Then I'm over on your Oregon State. Then I have a parlay on LSU and Texas to both cover. Then I have Missouri covering. I have the Dolphins covering again. Then I have Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown. And then I have the Bills over 23.5 points.
I like this slate. I'm not going to lie. That's a hell of a slate.
Don't see a loss.
Can I just give you my login? Rinse and repeat it.
The look in Steve's eye is the same as like when he was proud when his kids did something growing up. That's the
my
same
kid told
look.
me he got into Vanderbilt. Almost matched that slate that Russell just gave me right there.
Yeah, I was up like 15 units this past weekend.
Oh, wait. We didn't even talk about the fair game.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Tell him what you found. Took his kids to the fair. I get a picture of a dollar bill sitting on a blue square. And I'm like, what am I getting ready to watch? And then it was a video. Explain it, Russ.
Yeah, so
It's going to be a great time. We got road course, Watkins Glen for the NASCAR playoffs. We got football. We got pros on Thursday, college all weekend, pros on Sunday. We're hoping to win bets because Russell won't share his winning bets. Get all your bets in and may all your bets pay off.